Yeah, we provide set up and take them,
Wow.
do everything but cater.
I did a little of that on Wednesday.
Everybody get a chance to review those minutes?
Yes, they are great.
I have one. Right, bring up the change after we start the meeting, so we can approve them as amended.
Is John coming?
He'll be late,
Oh,
or he's
he might be
expecting to be late.
But there he is, right there.
So his appointment was changed to be late tomorrow.
Oh. Rubble.
No, I can do the last one in. Everyone's being so quiet.
I know, it's not that way.
Don't tell John.
It was so sunny yesterday and today it's.
Oh, I know.
Well, I thought I was gonna be late today, a little bit. Cause we're starting at 5, but my appointment moved to tomorrow. Same time, so I'm gonna be really late tomorrow, like miss most of it.
Oh, we might just make it fun.
I don't want to disrupt everybody. I did want to, have that kind of policy discussion we talked about. Okay.
According to this file.
Okay. I'll call this meeting of the Board of Selectmen. Budget review with the Budget Committee. April 15th, 5 p.m. To order, and please, Jeff, would you lead us in pledge?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And I'll call the Budget Committee.
Mary, are there any adjustments for the select board meeting?
I don't have any.
I don't, okay. I'll turn it back to Walter, I guess.
All right, Conservation Commission. Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, so everybody read the minutes, I need one amendment when I got here. And that is in the paragraph about Jeff, walking us through the spreadsheet, I changed the sentence. Because of the unknowns with the school budget, he is not confident we will be able to use surplus this year. Change that sentence to, because of the unknowns with the school budget, he is not confident we will be able to use surplus at this point during the budgeting process.
Is there a motion to approve the minutes as amended?
Did you move? So
No,
moved.
I'm at.
I'll second it.
I'll move or second, whichever.
Well, Penny
Too
moved,
late.
Penny moved and Rachel second.
Okay.
Any discussion?
Extra,
Thank you, secretaries for that work.
mostly Kate.
All in favor? Now, Sandra, I assume you're speaking for the Conservation
Right,
Committee.
and I
Commission.
use myself in the photo. So we got two bits, the Conservation Commission, which is on page 10.
Page.
The significant changes are under contract services, there's a new line for lab testing of water samples. We've had this program's been going on for 6 years, but it came under our wing starting last year. And now one of the things they do, part of what they do is metering, using a meter that DEP loans them, but they also take water samples. Oh, sorry. I just- to be lab tested, and those lab tests have been free. But it may not continue that way for a couple of reasons. One, there's a new, well, they both have to do with the changes in the Thomaston, what,
Water district.
whatever, that lab, which used to be under John Fancy and is no longer. And so the new person may no longer feel like letting us have all those tests for free. Also, Theo wasn't happy last year with some of the results from that lab, which were wildly different from the results the year before. So we want to do at least some of the testing at the Rockland lab to get a solid picture of what's going on. So when I presented all that to the select board, I said, we're just gonna ask for 700. It would really cost 1,600, but we'll raise the rest. And they said, no, let's just put it all in the budget. And I said, okay.
Can I just ask a quick question? Sure. So where are you testing?
The Westgate River
Okay,
at 4
okay.
spots
I'm just-
through the summer. Twice a month, June through September. And by now, we're getting pretty good long-term patterns, trends, so that it's really useful data, but only if you trust the lab. Is there a question coming?
Yes, the Rockland, the lab that you're talking about, is that a Rockland City facility?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's their,
so it's not
their,
Hassens.
no, it's, the, sewer district. Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
So I'm assuming the reason you don't get involved in testing the St. George River is because that's extensively tested by the Quam committee and
Yeah.
And it's also tested by, Thomas.
on, yeah, so not so much in South Thompson, but.
Yeah.
But it gets mega tested because of it's a big clamming
Yeah.
area. I'm making that assumption. Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
right, but we're the only ones doing the Westgate.
Right.
That is,
Well, it's good to know. It's good to know that it's tested and stuff.
I'm sorry, what?
It's good to know, that it's
Yeah.
tested and stuff.
Yeah, and then we have the result. Right.
So I think when all this started, wasn't there either folklore or fact that the headwaters were really in bad shape, and it turned out that they're not?
Oh,
Or
before
are
my
they?
time, I don't know about that.
Okay. Wes will know.
Yes, he certainly will. Okay. We're also upping, a bit the, two accounts that will end up giving us another, chunk of money, not tiny chunk of money for educational programs. This year, we ended up borrowing from supplies to cover, we had two really good opportunities. One was with all the other Knox County Conservation Commissions, we hosted at the Camden Library in November, a program on why it's important to have dark skies at night. And then in February, we co-hosted with, she's smiling because she got to go, a planetarium program at Ash Point School for the kids of Owl's Head and South Thomaston, where this guy brings this large inflatable planetarium and everybody gets inside and the kids loved it. Anyway, but that was a little pricey, which is why we had to take money out of the supplies, which was okay because this year we didn't need as much. Last year was a big supplies lift with the grant application. So that's about it for developments on Conservation Commission. And you can go ahead and answer any more questions and put it to a vote, please.
Since. Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the Conservation Commission budget submittal in the amount of, to preliminarily approve, of $2,370? Second. Thank you, Tim. Any discussion? All in favor?
Wondering about, I wanted to ask, is that out of order? Do I recuse myself as well as a member of the commission?
I don't know why the commission needs to recuse itself, there's no pay involved.
Yeah, they don't have a pecuniary interest in that. Yeah.
Well, we won't.
Certainly,
And
well,
we'll vote for it.
All right, so then the other thing is, if you go to reserves on page 45, there is a reserve for the forest preserve. Say that fast, you guys. We're at the bottom, so
okay, you're gonna sign.
45,
Thank you.
line 1186. And last year, I made the case that we have to have some money. We've got to have some skin in the game to have any shot at getting the Land Remains Future grant. I can back up and explain if anybody doesn't know the background of the land we bought and that we're making a forest preserve. So we applied, we are preliminarily approved for the grant, and we only have 6 or 7 hoops to jump through to get the money. Biggest hoop, the biggest amount of work for us turned out to be surveys. Because not only do we have to survey the boundary of the preserve, which is, when we bought it, it was 129 acres, more or less, but when you finish surveying, it's 134, so it's nice. Anyway, so then naively, we've engaged an attorney to help us with the legal work on all this and said, so we need to apply for title insurance. We thought the problem would be that the 11 acres that belonged to Klein came to us by a quitclaim deed, and we thought, oh, that'll be a problem, but the lawyer researched the title. She says it's got a solid chain of title back generations. That's fine, but she said, you're only asking for title insurance on the preserve, which viewed all by itself is landlocked. And nobody's going to give you title insurance on property that doesn't have access to the road. So it took a while for this to penetrate because we were saying we have to give ourselves an easement from land we own onto land we own. And she said, that's it. So we had to go back to the surveyor and he's finished now surveying it. And we have John and the working group met with him last week and picked a path. It'll be going up the Stump Dump Road and then hooking onto another old road that'll have to be repaired before anybody could actually use it, but and then hooking a left onto the preserve. So that was the big lift, and all the surveying together was about $18,000, but we got a grant for 11,000 of that. It was 12,000, but Georges River took their cut before passing it on, so it's 11,000. So the rest of the stuff, now's the big lift. In this coming year, if all goes well, we can jump through the rest of the hoops, but they have price tags. We'll have to get the title insurance. I'm not sure about how much that is. An appraisal, an environmental hazard assessment, various attorney fees, although she is taking us on as a, not pro bono, but as a cut price deal because she likes helping towns do things like this, bless her heart. And there will be recording fees, which aren't huge, but. And so we'll have to jump through all those hoops. Just to qualify for the grant. And then there's some other stuff we have to do with not such huge price tags. That's gonna come out to about. We could take 36,000, but some of those are just estimates, because we haven't priced them out yet. You don't have a firm commitment and a firm price. Meanwhile, the grant we will get is 100% of the purchase price if all goes well. Because it was a bargain sale and we can count the value in excess of the purchase price as our match. So ordinarily, we'd have to come up with 50% matching. We don't have to do that. If it appraises high enough, which it should, because he sold us that land for a quarter of its assessed for tax purposes value, let alone what it would have sold for on the market.
He being Don Prodro.
No.
Or
That-
Don.
yes,
Smith.
Smith.
Jeff Smith.
You knew, what you meant.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Okay,
Don's the butter.
correct. We have a different deal with him. So between the 11,000 of grant money for the surveys and 6,000 in round numbers of donations received, that's 17,000. And then it's one thing to get the grant, but in order to make it available to the public, we're going to have to improve the road. We're going to have to put in trails. We may have to deal with invasives and so on. We have a forester who's going to, we're in process of
She hasn't
engaging.
gotten back. I've
Oh, goodness.
called,
I will,
text, and
really,
email. I've gotten a response.
okay.
She may be in sticker shock on what I said we need to do.
No, she told me she wouldn't have a problem with it.
Oh, really? Okay, good.
But she may still want something on her side.
You never did finish your sentence.
Yeah.
Well,
You guys went jump to it.
anyway, so, within 18 months after they finally hand over the money, we have to have a 10-year management plan in effect. And foresters, assess, she's gonna do a forest management plan for us that will be the backbone of that. And then we're gonna have to work on trails, and I don't know how much can be volunteers and grants. Signage, various other stuff will come up. So this time when I went back to the select board, I didn't name a number, I just said we need to talk. And, how about you give us some more money? So that, and we do plan to have a fundraising campaign, which I do hope gets off the ground soon. But if the bills come in faster than the donations do, we need some place to turn to pay. With the hope that we'll just keep asking for donations periodically, maybe create a Friends of the Forest Preserve group or something, because this is going to be an ongoing, not huge, but an ongoing expense. A question is coming up again. I can tell.
So these anticipated expenditures are not in your budget.
Right,
Correct.
not entirely, but there is enough in the reserve with the 10,000 that the select board volunteer put in. That we will be able to pay the bills as they come in.
So that becomes one of those. So you're not putting it in the budget and putting it in the reserve because that's a no-no according to
Is it
the
a
accounting
no?
standards
It's
board.
available.
So but you get to vote to do that, right? To take it out of the reserve.
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, you don't, the same year you're
taking money, you're putting money into the reserves, you shouldn't be designating to pay for something in your budget from reserves. Because it's really kind of double dipping. In your budget, it will show up as double dip. Something that costs $5,000, you will put 5,000 in your reserves and 5,000 to pay for this. And so it means that item in your budget will cost $10,000.
So do we need a forest
No, you're good.
reserve
Yeah,
account?
No, you're good. If you're not, because you're separating the forest reserve from the conservation.
Yeah, I don't want it in
Right,
conservation
right.
commission,
Right.
but does it need its own line item account?
Not yet.
Okay.
I think we're good so far.
Yeah, the joke.
My
But I
understanding
think
is
the
there
big,
is money set aside for this. That's more than we pay the bills that we expect to get before more donations come in.
I think the big point we need to focus on though is if all goes well, we're gonna recoup all of these expenses and more, perhaps.
No. We're gonna recoup what we paid to buy the land.
Right. Which,
We are spending more money to be able to qualify for the grant to do that.
right, so we're gonna get back,
$67,000.
right, and we have not spent 67,000.
Where's the 67,000?
You
Last
took
year.
that
It was last year.
67,000 in 23
And those are.
out of. Sorry.
But right, I understand that we spent
Oh, well,
67,000 to buy
That's
the land. With the anticipation that we might get 0 back, or we might get 67, and we gotta spend. I'm just gonna use numbers out of the air, we gotta spend $5 to get $10.
Yes. Yes, just about.
Okay, so, and we're gonna have lots of nice information like good surveys and a forest management plan and blah, blah, blah. Right, so
Right.
that's how I look at it, so,
Well, that's fair enough.
okay.
I mean, at the moment, the town has spent nothing. Everything so far, I believe I'm right, Terry, is out of grants and donations.
Except for the 67.
Yeah, the 67, which we don't
Minor
care about.
detail.
That one, yeah, okay, that's sitting there on the shelf, hopefully it'll fall into our laps. Other than that, all the expenditures so
Right.
far
And
have
we've
not
been,
cost the town.
we've actually been approved for the grant, it's just, we need to go through some hoops to actually get the
Check
cash.
boxes.
And these are the hoops, yes,
It's not like we're still in the competitive process.
correct. No, it's earmarked for us.
Right.
We just have to earn it.
I have a clarification question.
Yes,
And it probably is something that came up last year. Is this a state grant or is this a federal
it
grant?
is a state grant.
Okay, so we have
With state
much,
money.
much more hope of actually going. Cause I'm sitting here going.
That's a very good question.
So, and for any future,
Penny would like to.
It's,
I would move that we put 10,000 into the. That's the budget committee recommends 10,000.
And I'll even second that, even though.
curmudgeon that you are.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
thank you, Ben.
Yes, thank you.
Solid waste. 36. This your bailiwick, Jeff?
Yeah, no, most of it's.
No, sir. I don't know how.
Oh, okay.
For some reason,
Commissioner, he's also in charge. of
yeah,
the-
for some reason, the stump dump, Jerry just kind of took it over and when he was road commissioner, and then when I kind of took it over, this came along with it.
Because there was a road into it?
Probably, I don't know. So, the operator is actually, Phil. He gets paid a stipend in addition to his hourly wage here, and he kind of coordinates removal of all the cans when they're full, calls, and he deals with DEP, like when they send in an inspection report, he kind of gathers information together and he takes complaints that first, he's the first line of defense for complaints that come from Dana or users. The demolition debris attendant is Dana, who most of you probably know, works out back 2 days a week, 9 to 4.
Yep.
Gets no benefits except for workers' comp. And unemployment and. We have a little bit of other wages in there, which we didn't use this year, although that surprises me because we had someone. Sub a couple times out there, so I think that's one of those little glitches. Under the actuals. I think at least 3 days or 2. So. Bank of Medicaid. The roll-off service is basically the company that provides the roll-off bins and transports them. To and from the site. Container rental is, just what it says, renting the containers. And the push down can is a euphemism for, we, use Jimmy Calix's backhoe. We don't use it, Jimmy uses it, that's in the salt shed all year long. To, compress the trash in the can, so we're hauling as much weight as possible per trip, because the per trip cost is the same whether we haul 2 pounds or 2 ton. What is oh, I know, brush shredding.
Brush shredding.
Yeah, this is a transition. We used to burn it, we still have the permit to burn it, the neighbors complained. The last DEP inspection report said if you're gonna burn it, you gotta have someone out there 24/7 until the last flame is out. We can't get the fire department to do it. I've done it several times, but I don't wanna stay out there at night, it's scary out there. So we tried hauling the brush away, that didn't work. It was quite expensive, we could only press it down so much with an excavator in the can. So now what we're hoping, is Jimmy Calic bought a shredder head, it's not a chipper, but it goes on the excavator. And we shred it, don't really chip it, it's not like chips you would buy, but shred. And we're hoping that we can get rid of that, most of it. People will just take it. Jimmy already took a bunch of it, he uses it for mulch, and he thinks other contractors might on road projects and stuff. And private citizens could too. It's not really, you wouldn't put it around your fancy bushes in front of your yard, but if you were doing a renovation project or something, you wanted to have some erosion control, it would be good for that, so. But at a minimum, if we can't get rid of it, we can probably use some potentially out back on the trails and stuff in the forest preserve, number 1. And number 2, if we really can't get rid of it, because we can only keep it for so long, we can get a lot more compressed in a roll-up can than we can when it's just brush with it kind of goes every which way, and you push it down, it springs back up, that type of thing, so. So this is kind of a guess. We're not really sure this is gonna work and how much it's gonna be, but. But that's sort of where we're at. Miscellaneous repairs are just that, gates and stuff. Last year we replaced the gate, and the very next gate, some guy backed into it and put a big dent in it. But literally the very next. Then we have a license fees. The septic disposal agreement is really not the stump dump, but we have to by law have a place where people in town can take, when they hire someone to pump out the septic, that there's a place where they can take it they're free to take it wherever they want, as long as it's legal, but we have to have a place. And we have an agreement with, Interstate Septic, and the price has been the same for 20 years.
Yeah.
So, every year we get it, we expect to see it double, but it never does, so. Workers' comp and stuff.
The big surprise.
And, we do get hit with a fuel surcharge from time to time. We did get hit with it this year for a while. That's always tough to predict. That's from the gentleman who, the company is Halls. And then disposal fees are the fees that are charged for disposing, and as much as we can cut down on that, the better. And, one of the things we're gonna start shortly is a composting area. Not for food waste, because that involves a big complicated license and so on and so forth, but for grass and leaves and potted plants and reedy weeds and stuff like that. So we hope to start that soon and maybe cut down on dealing with that, because it doesn't chip well and it doesn't burn well, and you end up putting the remnants of it in the can. And then the transfer station, I think Jeff already spoke to, but he's our rep to the transfer station, so I'll turn it to him for that.
Yeah, we came up with a flat budget this year, even with giving 5% pay increases to all the attendants that are out there. But we were able to find some savings in other places, and we are doing some more projects this coming year. There's some paving that needs to be done. There's some doors we want to get hung that haven't been hung yet from the improvements. And I think even if we start doing Cushing, if they start coming to us mid-year, we're gonna end up charging them what the increased cost is gonna be. So I don't see it going up for a couple of years anyway.
How's the
Pretty
blowback
stable.
on the $50 sticker?
Hardly any, especially when there were some people going, what? And we said, yeah, we're $50, we're increasing it to $50 to people who are using it. But we're keeping steady the cost for the use in the town, so it's either tax you or charge you. And we've chosen to move a little closer to charging, but we're still significantly lower than anybody else.
Yes.
That's,
I probably should comment on that. Out back to effective May 1st, we're going to a new fee system. We're the only town around that doesn't charge a fee, and word has really gotten out that, oh, take my sticker and go to South Thomaston, you can get in there for nothing. And our tonnage like doubles last year. So one of the things is when you get a sticker, you're gonna have to put it on the vehicle. You can't put it on a cassette case and hand it to your buddy, and then he can go down there with a dump truck load of shingles and from Warren. So, but we're gonna get some blowback on that, I'm sure. Although we haven't had too much, have we, Terry, so far?
Yeah.
we lived through that when we insisted on putting the transfer station, putting the
Yeah.
sticker on the car.
Yeah.
And we put that group in Owl's Head that was selling the CD cases to people
Ah.
from all around so that they could come use our transfer station.
We did have one woman who said they own a waterfront place on Sprucehead Island, and they have 3 vehicles, and they don't understand why they have to pay $20 each for each vehicle. And I thought my original thought was, if you own a waterfront place.
And you have 3 vehicles.
You have 3 vehicles, you can't afford $20 a vehicle, then why? And just bring it all in one vehicle. So anyways.
Well, we deal with out of state, not us out of state, but my sons live out of state, and we talk to them about what they're trying to do. And trying to get to a stump done, and part of it is, or
A demo.
demo, whatever it is you're trying to get rid of, and part of it is the hours that you guys have here, we have here are huge. One of Massachusetts is 1 day a week.
Yeah.
That my son could actually go
Hmm.
to, and by the time he's home from his overnight job, it's basically closed.
Right.
You know, so it's like, it's crazy, so he pays for private. Because there's no other way, and then when he found how much we pay, it was like, you gotta be kidding me, it's crazy. So you start pricing it around even, and heard from Rockland and whatnot, but the hours are great, and my husband kept wanting to do the right thing, he's going, so when's the sticker, when's the sticker? I said, I get emails, they'll let me know.
Well, let them know.
Yeah, no, he's got it.
Yeah, and we're gonna start, May first, we'll see what happens, so.
You get them at the office?
Yeah,
or-
yeah,
Yeah,
Not
not,
at the transfer station for.
No, I already got
outside
the
stuff.
transfer. But you said, and there's a charge besides?
Yeah, is there gonna be a user fee? Actually,
So when I
it's-
come in with my sticker on, I pay something extra?
You gotta get a voucher and hand it to Dana, we're not gonna take cash.
Depends on what you're bringing in and how much you're
Right.
bringing.
Right, if they bring in very little, there's no charge, you need to get a copy of the rules. and
Mhm.
on the front and out of there.
They didn't give you a copy of the rules when you picked up your sticker?
Oh, she didn't get the sticker.
Oh,
I have
so-
that.
oh, okay, they'll give you a
So,
5-page report.
Summary of what you can do.
okay,
And if there's no charge, it's May first for demo, we're deferring the charge for brush until, May first of 26.
oh, that's all.
And we're not charging for compost, grass or leaves, stuff like that, and if you bring in a very small amount, like in the back of your truck, brush or something, there's no charge either.
Oh, okay.
That's not what we're aiming at here, what we're aiming at here is someone who comes out with a dump
Construction.
truck and a trailer full of shingles that
Right.
basically fills up half the can and weighs, you know.
Yeah.
He had a whole bunch of furniture and.
Yeah, we are charging now, we are gonna charge for sofas, cause they take up a lot of space, even when you
Yep.
crush them down, they tend to come back, so.
Rachel?
Yeah, I have a question about the brush shredding.
Mm,
Is that, are you talking about the great big pile where you can, you know, up on
Yeah.
above it? My question is about, I know a lot of people who are taking things they're trying to get rid of that are invasives. Putting them in bags, and then Dana says you gotta empty the bag up on that pile.
yeah,
So I'm just wanna flag, especially thinking of the forest preserve, if we're then shredding that. We wouldn't wanna be probably putting that out in as trails.
Good.
And we might
Right
not
next
even
to
wanna be
the
putting it
preserve.
by the side of the road if it's Japanese honeysuckle. And it's, you know, I mean, I know the goutweed probably stuff is maybe I don't know, but if it's Japanese honeysuckle, which is one of the big invasives. I just wanted to flag.
no, I know, and that has crossed my mind, but I also wonder, and I'm not an expert on this, if it sits and dries for a year or 6 months, does that,
Don't know.
yeah, I don't either, I mean, no, that's what, that was the theory with, that was the theory with
Come over to
sewers,
my
that
house, they're all through the forest.
if you let it dry for a year, you could spread it on fields until they found all kinds of plastic in it, but.
Well, don't know, okay.
And,
But yeah, no, that's something we should, need to look into.
probably should.
But on the other hand, I mean, you got, it just seems to make no sense to haul all that stuff environmentally to Norwich Walk and bury it in a landfill. I mean,
We'll grow there.
I mean, I know, but.
No, I don't either, I just want to flag it.
Yeah, no.
Something to think about.
Yeah.
Something that can burn, can.
You can burn it, for sure, you can burn it, but I can hear of that.
Then
burning
maybe
it.
it's not go to the transfer station.
Yeah, send it, transfer it out of the county.
Well, to the
To
incinerator.
somebody else.
Yeah, to the-
And it gets incinerated, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, if you put it in bags, the transfer station, would take
Yeah.
just long as regular grass.
They would?
Yeah.
What will they do?
I don't know.
Maybe they
If you got it in bag and you throw it. in the-
They're not
with the
gonna-
garbage.
You mean it around, just put it in a
They don't pay any
garbage
attention.
bag.
Yeah,
It's in a bag and it
But it
goes.
says they
Be a
don't
lot of
take
black
it on
garbage.
their rules.
Well, that's because sometimes take them.
But sometimes you got a truckload
Yeah.
of it, it's just by the truckload, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Impressive, creative problem solving up there. I'll go into the options. So is there a motion to preliminarily approve the total solid waste disposal budget of $365,474?
So,
366.
366, wait a minute.
Oh,
36,
sorry,
that's right.
I knew there was a reason why I have these glasses. 366,474. All in favor
Well,
of, any further discussion?
I just wondered, are we gonna have a revenue line to offset this in any way, or just wait and see what happens the first year?
Well, we haven't put one in yet, cause, we really didn't have a clue what to put in. I don't think you plugged anything in, did you, Jeff?
No.
And I mean, it would be just a wild guess, I mean. But if we do get it, it'll just close the surplus and, you know, it's not like. So, yeah.
So,
I mean, there is a revenue from the sale statements.
right,
And there's an estimate on the vouchers, although again, that's just a guess because we've never done it before.
Well, the vouchers were very limited,
Right, yeah.
now they're gonna be, you know, and plus. We're gonna have what's called as a bulk permit, which
right.
you can spend. Forget what it is, $4,000 for the year. And as long as the stuff comes from South Thomaston, you don't have to buy a voucher every time, that just covers your.
Well, I guess we'll know more next year, right?
Yeah, I think it's really kind of premature to,
Yeah.
you know, I wouldn't have a clue what to plug in, so, yeah.
And that was exactly my thought when I did the estimates for the cash flows.
Good catch, Penny.
I'm just surprised that, you know, you're projecting a $20,000 increase in disposal fees.
That's because of the volume and.
I know, but we anticipate that going down somewhat if we're not letting everybody just leave,
We hope,
We hope.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
but it's an unknown at this point.
And plus the increase per ton was quite significant. Yeah, so I think it's, quite frankly, it's a work in progress.
Yeah.
Did the transfer station see the same kind of thing, increase in the
Yes.
hauling?
Yeah.
Is it the same guy, same vendor?
Yes,
No,
Liddy?
BMJ, we,
you know, yeah. We have a long-term contract with them, so we've been able to anticipate how that's gonna go up. Although last year it was a significant increase, and EcoMaine last year sent us a notice and said, hey, we want to increase the recycling costs and formula that we currently use. And I sent them a letter back and I said, I was just looking at the contract and you gotta give us 6 months notice and, oh, by the way, we're in the middle of our budget cycle, so we're willing to play with you and increase and change it, but you gotta wait till the 1st of July. So there is an increase in EcoMaine bills.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Thank you, guys.
41.
Basically the same. That's last year. There are some things coming up, but I think we can handle them out of our donations account.
Have you started charging some people for the use of the facility?
No, we usually receive generous donations from repeat users, and we have you know, someone had a baby shower and wrote us a check for $50, and so. We haven't.
How is Minerva working?
We not, actually active in Minerva yet, and
But it's on here.
well,
Are you
that,
hoping?
shouldn't be Minerva catalog program, it should be van delivery service, which we had
Oh, okay.
hoped to actually activate this year, but that is all back up in the air again.
The Minerva.
Well, it's actually the van delivery service that, whether we would have to join Minerva or not is up in the air because our subsidized van delivery is now up in the air. That
So-
was federalized.
I'm sorry, what's up in the air?
If we are actually gonna get a subsidized van delivery this year.
So the 2,000 that was budgeted for the current year won't be spent, is that what you're saying?
We don't know.
Okay, it still might be then.
Yeah, it would be good news if it is, because it's,
Oh, it will not be spent for 24-25.
Oh, okay, that's what I was asking.
oh, yeah. But next year, hopefully, something.
Is there a motion to approve?
Could I offer a comment for you? Sure. Is it too late? I still think we should, and I know she won't take it, but we should increase the director's salary significantly.
I do too. Considering she's basically there every single day.
And she'll refuse it, but I'm gonna say it again. For past 7 years. Unless you're changing your mind, Penny.
No,
How about that $2,000?
no, but I mean, if you start going up 500 a year now, maybe by the time I'm ready to be done, you will find someone to take it
Well,
over.
Part of my thinking.
That's
Right.
fine.
I don't know that this is the year to do this, and I actually think that, you know, this does not reflect being the library and community center director. Because the library is 2/5 of that building, and the overall thing, I think, is working into a full-time paid position with benefits.
I don't disagree.
And so that needs to be addressed at some point in the future.
Can you say that again?
Well, the library director
Mhm.
here is actually the director of the library and the community center.
Okay.
The library is like 2/5 of the
Mhm.
community center.
In terms of time spent by that director.
Oh,
Footprint,
Space in the building.
cost.
space,
But we're on the wage.
yes,
In terms of your time.
well, that's hard to quantify because I'm doing both at the same time because I have to be there for this and, but it is a 40-hour elite position at this point.
Well, maybe we should relabel this library / community center,
Yes.
because we did change your title when we
Yes, we
appointed
did.
you to director of the library and the community center. And maybe it's a good time to start that, and maybe it's a good time to take that $2,000 that wasn't spent. And, I don't wanna screw up all your sheets, Jeff.
No. You should add,
And, put it into the wage line for next year, because I agree I mean, Penny's not gonna be here for 60 years more, I would think, and. If we wanna keep going what we built, we're gonna have to. So that's just,
yeah,
I guess I'm asking, does the board wanna reconsider that?
I do, I think we need to.
Is there a
we need to
motion to
start
that effect?
ratcheting it up. I'm just trying in my mind to figure out because. We almost need a separate line item.
Why? We can't just relabel this to reflect what it is, so to speak.
Well, I guess here, if we change this to $3,000, are you ready to start taking $3,000?
I would take two,
Well,
because I feel like I'm doing
Right.
the same job.
I'd say I didn't wanna step on her toe, because if we do it, if we just do it, then it becomes her pay, and she's already said she didn't want us to. So,
well, we can budget for it and only pay her to.
there you go. That, Rachel, and how we do that is what I'm trying to figure out in my mind. But budget for three, but pay her for two.
I'll make a motion, we increase the salary for the director of the library and community center, relabeled. To $3,000.
I've just given that back to meeting.
Yeah, no,
Silently.
we're making the.
Well, this is our portion of it. Right. I'll second that.
So did you just change the?
Not yet,
Yeah.
haven't done a thing yet.
We're waiting.
Further discussion,
None of us.
no discussion,
I'm good.
all those in favor? Okay, now, we now have an adjusted amount to deal with.
Now you have to adjust all the other slashes.
Well, the FICA and Medicare, but. we can-
Did
that's
you-
de minimis.
What was the motion?
The increase it to $3,000 and relabel it the director of the library and community center.
Okay.
And obviously, you'll have to adjust the FICA and stuff, which is kind of de minimis.
Yeah.
So is there, I have this actually a question for Penny. Art, so Cushing has a library and community center. Much St. George does not. They're not they're not in the same building. Is there, do they have a model like the librarian and community center director, or are they two separate people?
Not sure where they are now, but, last I knew, the librarian was, scheduling and running things, but,
I work with somebody on their budget committee, so I might be able to find that out.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just thinking. When you have to go fill that position.
Yeah.
If it's both, it's gonna be could be a harder recruit than a librarian, a library director and a community center, somebody, but. Hopefully Penny will outlive me.
I would put that on, I
Have to
would
deal with
cross
that.
that bridge when we get there.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we could separate them.
Yeah, it's okay to, yeah, I wanted to suggest that we take this higher if we can possibly afford it, and I wanted to pose the possibility that if the current director doesn't want to receive that money, then that person has the option to redeploy those funds into programming in a given year. So that you start to build up the salary so that one can eventually indeed reimburse at a higher rate. But if the person doesn't want to do it, you have a clause in there that they can redirect funds to
I
program.
think that kind of
Mindy, the auditor will not like that.
budget here.
Yeah.
I would recommend that the budget committee put this at $2,000, I'll take that amount. If awarded, if voted on.
I thought we just made it 3,000.
Well,
Next,
But they don't, the budget committee doesn't have any say on
We
wages.
don't get.
Oh, that's right.
But they
We
can
They can recommend.
recommend a budget.
They've been asking us all along.
Right.
Then I should have spoken under your discussion, I would rather you put it at 2,000 and I take the money, because otherwise it's just gonna be a bookkeeping thing.
Why don't you take the 3,000 and donate 1,000 back to the library?
Because I don't wanna see this budget change that much in 1 year, not this year.
Okay. Does the select board wanna revisit its
Yes,
decision of a minute ago?
right, I'll make a motion that we amend it to $2,000.
Well, can we
A
amend
total
it?
of
We've already
2,000?
done.
Oh, no, that we amend this, that my motion is that we amend the salary for the director of the library / community center to $2,000.
We already voted on it.
Yeah, well,
We already made it
but you know
3,000.
what? Let's just not get too hung up on Robert's rules and just say, okay, is there a second to that? Cause I
I'll
think the
second
proper
that.
way would be to rescind it and then, but go ahead.
I'll second it.
Okay, all those in favor, 2,000, okay.
And I do
Sorry.
think that redirecting compensation to other accounts is a accounting no-no, it's not a sticky auditor wicket.
So,
So,
okay, so now you're gonna have to do some tweaks to the FICA, and
Correct.
Yeah, we always do that.
so how do we vote on a number?
Well, if you hold on a second, I'll give you
All
one.
right.
Trying to catch up with the minutes, I mean, motions here.
If you had someone doing notes, it would be easier.
Yes, it would.
Or sometimes the motion is we approve the number plus the additional.
Well, we're gonna
FICA.
vote on this.
Right.
Yep, I can change the number and tell you in just a sec.
Except that you're paying all the benefits and whatnot.
Actually, the FICA should, no, it shouldn't just.
It will automatically do it.
Hopefully.
Have faith, John.
do you have the new number?
He's working on it.
They're gonna flag.
I'm used to.
Just something you could throw.
Okay,
I'm used to the Terry computer.
the new number is $6,185.
What?
The total.
Oh, the total.
You want it broken down?
FICA.
We'll see that tomorrow or
6185.
Thursday or whenever. Won't we? You're gonna give us clean sheets?
Yes.
Okay. So is there a motion to preliminary for $6,185 for the library?
So,
Never mind.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
And I will abstain because this is a,
Yeah.
since I negotiated my own.
That is a pecuniary interest, you're right.
Hey,
Recreation. Where's Rich Norman when we?
that's-
Is that the Lions meeting?
Anybody?
Wait a minute.
Pretty straightforward,
Gosh.
except for the reserve.
What is the dues fees travel?
Little League.
Little League, we pay the Rockland Little League,
Oh,
we pay the kids' dues.
And that includes Little League and softball?
Yeah, well, whatever the kids are playing.
how are our tennis courts resurfaced and all that kind of stuff?
What's that?
How were the surfaces on the,
Oh, they were great, and the new the basketball court is standing up really well. The pickleball court has showed a few little minor cracks, which is not unexpected, because we didn't redo the base, we just paved over it, and I'm just waiting for a couple of warm days to put some sealer in those cracks and repaint them, but I haven't had 2 warm days in a row.
Rich was looking for the pickleball net.
Yeah, I already texted them, that's where I went when I came to the meeting, I thought they were downstairs, and I
Okay.
texted them back
That's what
already.
I thought.
Yeah, he said he would put up the tennis nets and stuff, so.
Huntington.
So, yeah, they did pretty well, but, the pickleball courts, and they got a lot of use, and, but as I said, you know, we didn't really repair them the way it was recommended, which would have been to dig it up and recompact them, and so they're gonna, like any other road surface or bituminous surface in Maine, it's gonna start going like this, so. But they're in pretty good shape right now. And if we get them sealed, there's only 2 or 3 little cracks, it'll help you. Which I will do.
Is there a motion to preliminarily approve the recreation budget of $1,460?
so moved.
Is there a second?
second?
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Ordinance River, et cetera, is page 47.
Recreation.
Oh, the reserve, sorry.
So do we know why this five? Why we're putting 5,000 in the reserve, just,
Yeah,
Yeah.
we have half a tennis pickleball court is in total disrepair.
I figured that's what it was, but I
yeah.
just.
I mean, that's a long way from, and that was in much worse shape than the other one and really does need to be. Dug up and compacted. We've had some talk about, we're gonna have to haul that old hot tub out of there anyways. About maybe hauling the old hot tub out of there and seeding it, and we could use it potentially for badminton or bocce or something,
Volleyball,
huh?
volleyball.
Whatever, you know, you can play on grass. But we haven't got our little working group together. I did get a price I did get a price to haul out the old hot tub, get rid of it. And just lay down some loam and seed just as a sort of a temporary. You know, fix. And if we were gonna re-hot tub it, we'd have to do that anyway, so we're not losing any ground, so to speak, so.
Really have to mow,
Hmm,
so you have to mow it.
yep, hopefully we can get a volunteer or someone to mow it. I'll bring a mower up when they're playing pickleball, leave it there, right in the middle of it.
Is that grant?
The grant is closed out, that was all messed up, but it wasn't enough, that dealt with the basketball court. And the pickleball court, we didn't do what, you know, it was. I don't wanna say, I don't wanna throw any of the former town administrators under the bus, but it was a mess. No.
Is there a motion to approve the transfer of $5,000 to the recreation reserve?
So moved.
Second,
Yes, second.
any further discussion? All in favor?
This question, it doesn't have to affect the vote. I just wanted to understand when you said the grant was all messed up, but we're done with it now?
Oh, yeah, it's all closed out. It paid for basically resurfacing and relining, game lining the basketball court.
But there's still the hole.
We
Right,
still have
that's-
grant assurances.
Yeah.
That's not gone.
West.
Oh, yeah.
That, those
Right.
strings are still attached.
Oh, yeah, since, they've been there since the 60s, 70s, so.
Nobody signed.
Okay, cemetery and
I was-
shellfish
I was-
and veterans.
I was 14 years old. Hang on me. Oh, thank you.
The caution's still.
So
Go ahead, Penny.
cemetery is what it is. The stipend for the one of the Thorndike goes to the people whose lot has the cemetery right in the middle of it. And they do an excellent job. And we are the 5,600 is for Greystone Matters to come in and continue addressing the most at-risk stones in the various cemeteries. So we take what he can give us. And so last year, I think that was 4 days. Which ends up being more because he has to come back and take the bags off and you know, but he brings all the equipment, all the groupies and the volunteers, and it's well worth the time. One repair would cost the $800-900 a day that he charges, and in the day we might start 10-20 repairs. But you know, it's a process where you write them and glue them and mortar them and all that stuff. So he is a bargain. It is preserving our history mostly up at the village. We are into the mid 1870s now, and we, keep working for the more modern stuff. And that's, the porta potty is to pay for the volunteers while they're working there. Dusk, or dawn to dusk. But that's that.
Second question. A clarification, so the distinction between stipend mowing Thorndike, 1,200, and mowing contract services of 20, I know we talked about it a little bit yesterday, but what's the?
We have separated the Thorndike, which is our oldest, most vulnerable cemetery. And it's like this, and it can't be done by the commercial mowers. They are basically push mowing it. And so that was separated out 2 years ago or so. And the mowing contract at the time, this was the amount of money they said it cost to do the Thorndike.
Is that the abutter still doing that?
And the other thing is, they wanted to do it, but they didn't have insurance. So we made them an employee to kind of cover our.
And Gus and Missy. I'm gonna. Robbins. And they are basically overseeing that cemetery. They go and they rake it, they let me know, they need some loam or whatever they need. And they go out in the woods and they take care of the fallen limbs and whatnot. And it's well worth it to separate that out and have that cemetery protected.
But you can see the huge increase in the mowing here, that I spoke to the other night, so.
Who's the vendor?
Brian Calder.
Oh,
Brian?
Yeah.
And he has done the best job that we've ever had in cemeteries. He's got people in these cemeteries, and he is very sensitive. His grandfather was Bud Baum, who was the fire chief and the did the cemetery work. And he's been very accommodating to work with schedules and holidays. I think he's still a bargain. Cemeteries are not easy, but we have had no damage done or complaints about the mowing, except that, obviously when it's too wet and can't go in and mow people, and sure that they forgot, but actually, I think I couldn't even remember any complaints last year, which is weird.
Shellfish.
We have to approve.
Reserve.
Well, it's
They're all
part
one.
of the.
They're all one?
Yeah.
They-
Oh,
That's true.
Well, before shellfish is the veteran
Oh, no.
flags and,
I'm looking at markers and caps and saying, what's that got to do with shellfish?
right. And, little hats on. I think that, it keeps going up, but that should be fine.
Shellfish.
Who
It's
is
just been
Jordan's
constant.
River shellfish? I mean, I understand the cemetery and the veterans. Why, what is this?
I don't know why it's in here.
Okay.
It always has
Yeah,
been,
it's kind of weird.
but that is.
Does somebody know?
The Jordan's River Shellfish Management.
We know what it is, we don't know why it's
Is-
there.
A protected area that can be claimed by one of the 5 towns, and that's who is on
Yeah,
there.
it's a public planning area.
Well, you have to have a license, yeah.
I'm still not following.
So we have a 5-town co-op, basically, that oversees or looks over the shellfish
So
The
when
Georgia
did it-
River Shellfish Association or what, that's an
Hires the
official name.
warden that
Really?
goes out.
They hire a
What do
warden
they do? They go out and check somebody's checking.
for their
whether-
license.
They
whether
got
it's-
permits, they're.
Right, that they're not taking
They're taking it in the
undersized
right
or
place.
oversized, that they're not enclosed flats. They also conduct all the testing. Of
And
the
there's
waters,
some problem, right, with the water.
yeah,
And you have to do seeding events and whatnot
yes,
to get their license.
yeah.
Okay, so it's just the one line item.
And they also address now is
Okay.
what to do with all the green crabs and how to
Right.
get people to take those and get rid of them.
They're quite an active group,
They are,
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not some dormant.
Okay.
There's a few people that are quite passionate about it, have been there many years and really put an effort into protecting that resource, and it's actually quite a economic.
yeah,
I
they
can't
can,
remember what the numbers are, but I was,
a lot.
when I first got involved, wow, that's a lot of money comes up.
Yes, I mean, we
These
can think,
clams.
we're contributing $3,000, so each town contribute, I think, the same amount.
Yeah.
So it's $15,000 and you have almost a full-time individual who's doing all the work and the mileage and plus all the testing on it, so that's gotta come from
they have to
somewhere,
maintain boat and
right?
That comes from the license fee, a lot of it.
And
Yeah.
they're keeping track of the whole of St. George River?
Yeah.
Is that what I heard?
And
It's more than.
Valley Head Cove, anything that is open within the fishery. of the
yeah, I don't think we have any open in South Thomaston.
And
But
last I
they
checked, we
can-
only had 2 clammers.
But South Thomaston can clam in the.
They can
in
get
the
a
cooperative,
license,
you know.
yeah,
So if you have water. Our land abuts the St. George River. How do I know where, is there a specific area? To clam or,
They
Yeah.
have charts on the
Yeah.
GMI website. That you
Okay.
can go see what's open.
not that I really
Right.
wanna clam, but.
It's
You have to
hard
get a
work.
license.
But we've had people try to go through our land and
to get
actually
there, yeah,
Levi's land to actually get there.
And that's one thing the warden will deal with.
yeah.
Right. If someone is crossing private land without permission, the warden will theoretically deal with that.
Mhm.
I mean, in most cases, they can clam on the back of yours in the water out there.
Right,
They can't cross your property to get to it without permission.
well, we gave them permission, but we had some, I don't know, there was some shellfish person. I don't know who it was, but he turned to the people and he said, you need to really thank them that they're letting you do that. That they're, and I'm thinking, these people are taking a sled and they're, in order to get down to part of our river. It's almost straight down,
Mhm.
so them pulling it back, I don't know, and they're working really hard for those. As long as they have a permit, I don't have a problem, I didn't have a problem with it, and we asked them straight up, you have your permit? Then it's fine with us, but I've never really discussed this before, and I'm going, well. Where am I supposed to clam? Am I supposed to clam in a certain place or?
Well, even you need a permit, but you can get
Right.
your rec license at town office, and
Yeah.
it's $15 and.
And you can actually clam anywhere, except that they close portions of it, they close.
The,
If you buy a recreational license, which
Yeah.
means you can't sell them, you can,
yeah,
Your
we can
own
get them ourselves,
Right.
Yeah,
I get it.
And
now.
I'd still refer.
Go to the DM, yeah, you want.
I'm not really into clamming.
Oh, okay.
So, it's fine.
if you do it once or twice, you'll decide that they're worth it when you buy them.
Exactly, that's exactly right. I've
No,
clammed
we-
several times.
We've been down there.
Cheaper to buy 'em.
cut our-
Now I know why they cost so much.
Yeah.
Anyway, nice lesson, thank you.
and that 3,000 hasn't gone up in
A long
several
time,
years,
yeah.
right? Huh?
You know,
That's been since the beginning of it.
Has it? I didn't know
As far as
that.
the beginning when we had it in South Thomaston, it was,
Yeah.
unfortunately, we're gonna get it back.
It's it's almost our turn, isn't it?
I don't think we can anymore. I think you have to have a town
A harbor master?
No, no,
No.
no, they're only doing it with for towns that have a town manager.
Oh, God, that's too bad.
I think, that last I heard.
That means
But that was
Warren, Thomaston and St. George.
Yeah.
Right, pushing and, pushing getting out of that, that must have been a Danny.
So are we approving this now?
So, is there a motion to approve, Georges River Cemetery and, vets at 34,528?
So
Thank you, Linda. Anybody?
Second,
Any further discussion?
I learned a lot too.
All in favor?
And I was thinking, but huge compensation is going to.
You doubled your salary.
Oh, I forgot.
well worth
Is
it.
there anything going on with the Anderson Cemetery?
The road got fixed.
You mean the existing, the family cemetery or? the-
No,
Well, we'll talk about that right now, then we'll talk about the cemetery reserve line.
okay.
Nice.
So what are you saving up for?
Well, we have been given 2 acres to be developed only as a cemetery between the family Anderson Cemetery, which is way up on the hill across from Maritime Farms. 131. Used to be called the Finnish Cemetery a lot. But there is, so that 2 acres can be developed as a cemetery, but there is some wetlands in the middle. And we have opened a new avenue on Village, so we have something for sale now. But at some point, and I talked to Joe Baum, and he thinks the way to develop that cemetery is to do it more as a walk-in. So you would have one avenue going around the perimeter, not perimeter, but in, with lots on both sides, avoiding the wetlands in the middle. And, you might have to walk into, not everyone's gonna have road frontage, which like they do up at Village. And so it would be a significant road avenue. But if we keep putting 1,000 in there, maybe by the time we need to develop that, it'll be.
Which cemetery you're talking about?
Well, it's a proposed cemetery that would be in front of the Anderson Cemetery on 131.
So it's in front of, no, I was thinking it was along.
It's from the existing cemetery, which, it's one of these very narrow tracks to the road. It's 2 acres going up the hill.
Well, we own the entire parcel now. From the road, from 131 to the back of the Anderson Cemetery. But
Do we own it or do we just have,
We have, I think.
We have-
Yeah, right.
we were given the 2 acres that we could develop
I
as a
think we
cemetery?
own the whole thing when the idea
Because
was.
they are still having private family burials in there.
Yeah,
I think we
yeah.
agreed to maintain both
We mow it.
We did.
down the road.
I think we own the whole parcel.
Well, I don't think it
I have to
matters.
go back and check it.
I don't think it matters. It's a cemetery that we don't have any control over except for.
Right, I mean, if you actually look at all our cemeteries, I don't think there's documentation
right.
showing that we ever owned it.
I think,
They just are there and,
Just accept it.
yeah.
And we give.
Oh, that's not
we
true.
give deeds to the-
Ocean, we did, yeah, Oceanside, we did formally accept from an association, so.
yeah, but we have no deeds to it, so.
So is there a motion to approve the transfer into the cemetery reserve of $1,000?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor? Thank you. Again,
I'll say what I say every year after we vote on this, it's nowhere near enough.
well, right, that's fun.
You
didn't want to mention that before.
Not gonna have that argument, I'll be dead before.
It's timing, it is timing dependent.
Yeah, this might just not be the year. Dip into-
Green burials.
Yeah.
Public safety, page 28.
Exactly.
If you don't know about that,
Well, the deer will come and visit you.
My wife wants a green burial.
I do too.
Okay, general public safety.
So, all right, so our EMA director is only getting 34.49, so how many hours is that? Not many.
No,
It's a stipend.
don't confuse it with the EMS.
Yeah, this is.
No, no, it's the, weather reports and stuff, right?
Right.
Do we have one now?
We do.
We do,
Who is it?
One of the firefighters.
Which one?
Chris something,
Damage.
Chris
Yeah,
Damage?
Damage.
Damage.
that's it. And environment too.
Is there an assistant?
Another
Yeah.
firefighter.
Another firefighter.
Oh, okay.
It's Brius and Diane.
Not yet,
Hmm?
yeah,
And Arthur's still the E911, the E911.
Yeah.
yeah.
And the ACO is
Troy
still the guy
Peasley,
from Howell's Head.
Troy Peasley's from Rockland.
Oh,
So what does the EMA director do?
Coordinates the shelters, coordinates with the county EMA. Ensures that all of our emergency response packages and guidance and direction is up to speed, reviews it periodically. Probably the biggest part of their workload is doing the inspections on the shelters, making sure the generators are working.
I haven't had anybody come and do anything
Oh, and
since we got
Becky-
there.
so, yeah. So Betty was super active in all of these activities, but
My,
She went to a lot of meetings too.
I think personally, they're kind of learning what they're supposed to be doing and hopefully, I'm not sure how, I'm hoping they've plugged into the county. I'm not sure they have, you know, as much as they need to. I mean, we quite frankly couldn't find anybody to fill these positions and we need them. We actually need them for a certain federal grant. You gotta
yeah,
have,
if you have some kind of weather incident and
Yeah.
you wanna try to get grants to fix it through FEMA. You've gotta have an EMA director that does that gathering of the data and getting with the county EMA.
and I think I still have that procedure. If we had to set up a war room in response to some major disaster, does the EMA person run that or is command and control the fire chief?
It
For us, or
depends.
you guys?
Typically, it's not one of.
It's not us.
One of us.
Yeah,
What they usually relegate people like us to is public relations kinds of things. But it depends on what it is. It could be the sheriff's department, or it could be fire department, or it could be EMA, if it's a multi-service. But that would all of that would almost be done for sure at the county level as opposed to at the town level.
So how the dispatching fee go down?
Good question. Yeah, I had no idea how that happened. And I'm on the county budget.
You're on the budget committee.
Yeah, and I was surprised to see.
was it an allocation thing?
Yes,
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. I think they're showing our population has gone down relative to the other towns,
Is it based on valuation or just population?
strictly population.
So they've been having a lot of trouble with dispatching.
Say that.
That's an understatement.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they pumped a lot of extra money into it. I mean, that. But the other thing they did is they used some surplus. Some,
Oh, so they
Yeah.
might have artificially lowered it,
yeah,
so to speak.
yeah. And I think that may be the real reason.
They're still not out of the woods on staffing.
And now Rockland's talking about.
Yeah.
They gave
pulling out
them,
of
I think they gave them a 6 or 9 month reprieve.
Yeah. Yeah, but the staffing part of it is they have known. Knox County has known that it's gonna take them a while to get their staffing up, because they can't train. Even if they got all of the seats filled today, it would not be possible to train all those people. Because it's a 3 to 6 month process to train an individual, so they can do 1 or 2 at a time. So they have a projected out when they're going to be, well, I guess, or better. But right now, they're able to do everything they need to do. They're still accredited. So, I'm curious to see how this falls out with Rockland. Yeah, let's see. Well,
You
Well,
were
let's-
gonna
let's-
say something in Warrenton.
yeah, no, I'll let it slide.
Let's approve it while it's still that low.
Exactly.
Hopefully it's not a mistake.
Oh, I don't, well, it could be a mistake on the county's part.
Does seem like
Mistake
a
on
big-
Karen's part, that's for sure. Is there a motion to give preliminary approval to the general public safety budget of $72,072? Thank you, Rachel.
Second.
Thank you, Lynn. Any further discussion? All in favor? Yes.
Probably ought to have a sit down with the EMA.
Yeah,
Like we.
Do you think there should be some training for EMA?
yeah,
Well, I just said, I think we maybe should have a sit down with them, and I think we've sort of lost track of where that's at.
when we appointed them, we did talk about training.
Yeah,
Get with the county, get the training.
and Betty was just such a self-starter that you almost had to hold her back.
And if you guys don't mind digressing a little bit, Betty kind of set this tone for all of EMAs across the county. Traditionally, EMA directors at the town level have been part-time, very small amount of effort, and it was mostly done at the county level. And so they were just spreading the word to the towns. Betty did not do that. She was a true EMA director for the town, and they started using her, what she was doing, for examples for the others. So she grew the job, actually. She grew the job more than what it used to be. So we just.
But probably closer to what it should be too.
And close, yeah.
Yes, I mean, it at the library, but. Community center has. Things that are supposed to be in place and you need to know that they work on a regular basis.
Right, exactly.
That's, yeah, you know.
So do you,
Did Ray retire?
Yes, Ray.
So, see, so he'd have been the mentor for the new
Right.
hire.
so there was no overlap between them, so you didn't get the benefit of all of Betty's knowledge.
Right, yeah, and that's part of it. Our new EMA directors and an assistant came in. Our deputy EMA director became the EMA director and then.
Reluctantly,
Reluctantly, and then said, I'm not gonna do it anymore. So we brought 2 more in, so they've got none of the benefit from our previous EMA directors.
I think the only sort of connection is they're both on the fire department, and there's sort of somewhat of a overlap there, but
And a lot of towns use the fire chief or.
Yeah,
or
the
their
EMA
officers
director.
as EMA.
So we tried to talk our fire chief into it, he wouldn't do it, right?
He's gonna be an ambulance too.
Because he's got the-
Well, he's got a full-time job in Rockland, he's the ambulance director and the fire chief, so. He said, no, I gotta.
Well, it's nice to know he has common sense.
So debt service,
44.
This has a hole in it.
this has a whole. a big
Well, we
hole.
think. It all depends on when the truck comes. If it comes before July first, there's a hole in it. If it comes after July first, it doesn't.
Right.
Because the payment would be made a year from the date of, the first debt service payment would be a year from the date of when we cut the check for the fire. And we've been trying to pin that down. And the word is always, it's coming, but we do now think, I
I
think
think it's gonna.
we think
It's gonna
that it's
happen.
gonna be here before July first.
Oh.
So we had originally. I just did this in like 5 minutes off. I found this and printed it off. We had originally we've not, with, as a board, we haven't really dealt with this, but we're looking at two scenarios, one 4-year term loan and one 5-year term loan. Borrowing from ourselves. Originally, we need to borrow, what's the total we need to borrow? So, oh, sorry, oh, damn, it was 2 pages. Interest, I think it was 301, 300,000, call it. So if we do 4 years, depending on what interest rate we assign to pay ourselves back. And I have these at 2 different scenarios, one at 5.31% and one at 5.34%. We would need about $16,000 for interest in the first year. On the 4 years and about 14,600 on interest on the 5-year. And then we were planning on taking it from the rebel reserve, the ambulance reserve and the landing reserve. And then something happened, we discovered.
You had to do you take the reval, right?
Right, we didn't have enough to do it because of the reval, so we gotta figure out where we're gonna borrow it from. So, the best I can tell you at this point
Sorry, Mr. Chair.
is to budget around
Won't happen again.
16,000 for an interest payment.
Yeah. Why don't we table this until you have a good number and we'll just do final approval
Well, I'm
tomorrow.
not gonna be here probably tomorrow until very late, but I maybe can put some time into it tomorrow, although I got a pretty busy day, but, the other option is just approve amount, and then when we have the number town meeting, we can just amend it to the exact amount. But I'll see what I can do between now and tomorrow night.
Does that make sense? Rather than. We can plug a number in.
I just don't wanna forget it,
Yeah,
Right.
and which is why I would sort of plug a number in, and then if we can
Okay.
adjust it tomorrow night.
All right,
if we put one in now, we can change it tomorrow.
Yep.
Right.
We know we won't forget it.
everybody is so optimistic that tomorrow is the end.
No,
It is.
you think?
But will that be a first?
No,
No.
First since I joined, 3
really?
days.
I thought last year was
When Warner was there, it used to be like 6 hours.
It's gone well this year. Are you around tomorrow?
Yeah.
No, you.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So we're putting in $16,000 for interest.
Yeah.
And where are we?
Are we putting anything
New
in
fire
for
trucks.
principal?
In fire truck.
Yeah, you gotta put the principal payment in too.
What did you come up with for that?
Well, it depends on how you do it. I would say at this point, put in 70,000.
Okay.
So 70 plus 16,
Now, wait a minute, we're, on the fire truck line, we are putting
No, yeah, new fire truck.
new
Yeah,
fire trucks
So
right now,
86?
right,
Yeah.
70 plus 16.
Or if we go to, the total repayment, as I have it calculated on this sheet, which I'd really like to revisit. Is at 4 years it's about 85.5 per year. And at 5 years, it's about 68 per year. So the big choice that I think, that's a fairly significant difference. But, you're paying more interest over the 5 years. But
Two or so.
so your first number was 85.5? Is that what you wanna
80.
plug in and then we'll come back?
that's what I was hoping. I think that should,
Yeah,
So you don't want it to,
Yeah.
I want it separated. So,
16 in interest and 70 in,
okay, so that's 86.
yeah.
Okay,
That's what I'm
So we add a
suggesting.
line?
I'm suggesting that as sort of a placeholder until
Okay.
you and I get a chance to look at this. I'm not even sure I got the right spreadsheet. I think I do, but
So line 1153 would be fire truck principal. In effect,
no, I did it the other way around, Sandra.
oh, whatever.
I'm sorry.
It doesn't
it's okay, I'm
matter.
just filling in.
I'm doing it in
I'm sure it'll
pencil.
get straightened out.
Cause you,
Okay, fire truck interest is 1153
Yes,
and principal is 54. 54. Okay, so, and now I've lost the numbers. What again?
total
No,
16
Individual
for
numbers.
interest.
16 and 70.
thank you.
So it's 86.
No. yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah, 86.
some reason he had 85.5.
We go high, and if we have to tell people that it's a low number, they'll be happy. Whereas the other way.
yeah, 70 and 60, right. I just don't want to forget it. That's a big hole to forget. You can always adjust it on the floor town meeting.
Yes, but adjusting down makes them happier.
so did you do the math on the total,
Yes,
Terry?
I do.
And it is.
I do. I'm getting there.
Did you not have that cranked into your?
No.
112,545.
And I wasn't expecting.
100 what?
112,545.
1, 2, 5.
Well.
But the computer will get it right anyway.
So can we preliminarily approve
Right.
112,545 for debt service? Thank you, Linda.
That was a cash.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
There's nothing left.
Yeah.
Which is this meeting.
And social services. I don't even have the sheet, but
Page
it's
40.
1,500, right?
Yes,
And we only get reimbursed for half,
70.
70%. Oh, okay. All right, is there a motion to approve the 1,500 for social services?
Oh,
Anybody?
Another second, yeah.
Thank you.
Who moved it?
Well, one of us moved it.
Kenny and Linda, a new tag team. Any discussion? All in favor? Any new business that's not on the agenda?
were you considering changing the time of tomorrow night?
Yeah. Yeah, I think we should. If everybody's,
I would, my appointment's not till 4:30.
oh, so that will be
Yeah.
better.
No, and I think it could be. It's not gonna be 5 minutes.
Yeah. Okay, so
I'll
let's-
get, and I got a 20-minute drive to get here. I mean, it's gonna be.
I know,
Let's
but
go before then.
those are important items tomorrow.
Well, he'll get to this.
Is there anything we can worry about?
I believe it's just pretty much fire.
Yeah.
Can I ask Terry a question?
What?
The amount that you have. I'll talk to you tomorrow. I'm confused all of a sudden about.
Fire department? Oh.
Not without a fire chief.
Oh, that's right.
We gotta have David for that.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Totally.
What?
Ambulance and fire.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that all we have left?
Yes, tomorrow.
Is there in this finalized
Right, but and the debt service.
and finalized debt service?
Right, but even if we can't finalize debt service, we got. We don't, we got something plugged in, right, so.
So are you saying that you expect to do the adjustments, to the budget review tomorrow too, and not on Thursday? Is that what I'm understanding, am I understanding that right? We're not meeting on Thursday?
Well, that's
Well,
what
we
I,
gotta,
And how long?
we should
Okay.
keep the placeholder
we
for
have
Thursday.
to keep the placeholder Thursday, and I feel like I need to remind people every year, we need a final, very short meeting to approve the minutes for the last substantive meeting. Because they can't get put up on the website and made available to the public until we approve them. And it's not fair to make them wait a year if anybody actually wants to see this stuff.
I
So
know.
all we need is a 5-minute meeting on Zoom on Thursday, if that's all that's left.
Of course, the
Set that up.
cynic in
It's
me will
already set
suggest that only Moira reads.
Yeah, we've already got a Zoom meeting set for Thursday because she was assuming. Jill-
Oh, I didn't know.
So we're still
I know.
coming to get tomorrow at 4?
Tomorrow, yeah.
Okay.
But whether you have to meet Thursday or not.
We'll find out
Full
tomorrow.
meeting, well, no, at the end of the meeting tomorrow. I don't see why.
So there's no further business, and everything on the agenda has been covered, and so therefore the chair can adjourn the meeting without objection, without a motion.
Without objection, the chair adjourns the select board.
Those are the rules.
Very useful.
If anybody objects.
Not at dinner time.
The comment about Department of Transportation.
Yeah. I just made my work, and I need to see where other guys are.
Oh, it's a little juggling, but yeah.
This is like a day out.
And they're glad to see you.
And they help you. Oh, no, we need these papers. So go just fill them out and then come back to me.
Yeah, because we want three thoughts.
Thank you.
Right.
everybody.
Basically, that first record. Basically, it's not completely drained the reserve.
I think I told you that last.
The truck was only 37.5. The reserves at the time were.
Terry, thank you for all you do. You've done your work. You've done
I'll-
out of this position.
I did.
I just so you know, I happened to be down there with Chip looking at from Jimmy. And I was down the cemetery, I noticed that water there is really, really bad. So I brought him down there, to know what it looks like, when the water's there. And he thought he could, I was a trench out to the edge of the road and get a lot of that water to drain out of it. And,
From going
well, where
in
that
to
last,
the,
yeah, next to the new road.
right,
Right, there's a stone that's really got underwater there.
Yeah.
It's new.
yeah,
Is that where the lots end right there?
yeah,
Because he didn't wanna put a swale drainage break in there. If we were gonna be selling lots up in that corner, so. We could all
we
say,
haven't sold anything, we don't have money, right?
okay, we could all say, no, this is on, no, this is, no, we have. But it's stone there. I'm talking,
Oh, I thought you meant rock, on the right side of the road.
no, hang on, this is.
It's just so frustrating. Not use.
This will be rough, but, So here's Dublin, say, right?
Yeah,
And then Field Street goes in like this,
yeah,
and the new avenue we put in goes like this.
right,
I'm talking,
These might
there's a
not
stone
be-
here, it's almost underwater. I'm talking up. in-
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Water.
yeah.
He thinks with the ditch here,
Oh my goodness, they're bad.